You get down on one knee. She says yes. Everyone is crying and hugging and posting photos on Instagram. You are engaged. You are in love. You are about to start planning the happiest day of your life. And then you start getting quotes from vendors. The venue is $8,000. The photographer is $3,500. The caterer is $12,000. The DJ is $2,000. The flowers are $2,500. The dress is $3,000. The cake is $800. The invitations are $500. You add it all up and you're looking at $35,000 for one day. One day. You could buy a new car for that money. You could put a down payment on a house. You could fund a retirement account. You could travel the world for a year. But instead, you are going to spend it on a party that lasts 6 hours where half the guests will get drunk, eat mediocre chicken, and forget the whole thing happened within a week. This is the wedding trap. And it is one of the most destructive financial decisions young couples make, right at the moment when they should be building wealth, not burning it. My name is Peden, and I spend way too much time analyzing the life decisions that keep people broke while making them feel like they are doing what they are supposed to do. If you are engaged and you are watching your wedding budget spiral out of control, or if you are about to propose and you have no idea what financial nightmare awaits you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because today we are going to dismantle the biggest scam in the life event industry. The idea that you need to spend a year's salary to prove you love someone. Here is the fundamental problem. Weddings used to be family affairs. Your mom made the dress. Your dad's friend was the photographer. Your aunt made the cake. The reception was in someone's backyard with food everyone brought. The whole thing cost maybe $2,000 in today's money, and nobody cared because the point was the marriage, not the party. Now the average wedding in America costs $35,000. In major cities, it is closer to $50,000. Some people are spending $100,000 or more for one day. And the marriage itself, the legal partnership that actually matters, costs $50 for a marriage license. Let me show you the math that nobody wants you to see. Let's say you are 28 years old. You are getting married. You spend $35,000 on the wedding. That is $35,000 that you do not invest. If you had invested that $35,000 in an index fund earning 8% annually, do you know how much money you would have by age 65? $516,000. Your wedding just cost you $500,000 in retirement wealth. You traded your financial security at age 65 for a party at age 28. You chose flowers and a DJ over the ability to retire comfortably. But it gets worse. Because most couples do not have $35,000 sitting around. So they borrow it. They put it on credit cards. They take out personal loans. They get money from their parents who cannot afford to give it but feel obligated because that is what parents do. The average couple takes 2 years to pay off their wedding debt. 2 years of making payments with interest on a party that happened in the past. You are paying 18% interest on flowers that died 3 weeks after the wedding. Let's talk about the psychology that makes this trap so effective. The wedding industry has convinced you that your wedding day is the most important day of your life, not your marriage. Your wedding. One day out of the 18,000 days you will hopefully spend together. They have convinced you that this one day must be perfect, that it must be Instagram-worthy, that it must be something people talk about for years. And to achieve that perfection, you need to spend money. Lots of money. This is manufactured scarcity. You only get one wedding day, so you better make it count. You do not want to look back and regret that you were cheap. You do not want your guests to be disappointed. You do not want a wedding that feels small or shabby or forgettable. So you spend. You spend on things you do not need because you are afraid of regret. You are afraid of judgment. You are afraid that if your wedding is not spectacular, it means you do not love each other enough. Here is what the wedding industry does not want you to know. Your guests do not care. They really do not. They care about the open bar. They care about whether the food is decent. They care about whether they can sit down. Beyond that, they are not paying attention to your color scheme or your centerpieces or whether your napkins match your bridesmaid dresses. Half of them are on their phones during the ceremony. The other half are thinking about the work email they need to respond to on Monday. Nobody is going to remember your wedding except you. And in 10 years, you are not going to remember it as well as you think you will either. But let's break down the specific scams within the wedding industry because this is where it gets truly predatory. Let's start with the engagement ring. The Diamond Cartel, specifically De Beers, created the engagement ring tradition in the 1930s with an advertising campaign. Before that, engagement rings were not a thing. De Beers invented the tradition to sell diamonds. They created the rule that you should spend 2 months' salary on a ring. Why 2 months? Because that is how much they wanted you to spend. There is no cultural or historical basis for it. It is marketing. So you spend $8,000 on a diamond ring. That diamond is worth maybe $3,000 wholesale. The moment you walk out of the jewelry store, it has lost 60% of its value. But you do not care because you are not buying a diamond. You are buying a symbol. You are buying proof that you can afford to waste money. And your fiancé is not going to say no to the ring because that would make her look materialistic, even though the entire tradition is based on materialism. Now let's talk about the wedding venue. This is where the scam really accelerates. You call a venue and ask about booking their space for a party. They quote you $2,000 for the day. Great. Then you mention it is for a wedding. Suddenly the price is $8,000. Same space, same day, same amount of time, but the word wedding added $6,000 to the bill. This is called wedding tax. Vendors charge more for weddings because they know you will pay it. They know you are emotional. They know you feel like you cannot say no because it is your special day. The venue will tell you they charge more because weddings require more coordination and setup. This is partially true, but it does not justify a 300% markup. What they are really doing is price discrimination. They are charging what the market will bear. And the wedding market will bear almost anything because couples are not thinking rationally. They are thinking emotionally, and emotional thinking is expensive. Let's talk about catering because this is where most of your budget goes. The average cost per guest for wedding catering is $100 to $150. You have 150 guests. That is $15,000 to $2,500 just for food. You could take those same 150 people to a nice restaurant and feed them for $50 per person. But it is a wedding, so the caterer charges double. And you have to use the venue's preferred caterer. And the caterer has a minimum guest count. And they charge for cake cutting even though cutting a cake takes 30 seconds. And they charge a service fee on top of the gratuity that you already paid. The food at your wedding will be mediocre at best. It has to be. You cannot serve 150 people plated meals that stay hot and taste good. It is logistically impossible. So you are paying $150 per person for chicken that is dry, and vegetables that are overcooked and mashed potatoes that came from a bag. Your guests will eat it because they are hungry and it is free. But nobody is going to say that the food was worth $22,500 because it was not. Now let's talk about the photographer. Wedding photographers charge $3,000 to $6,000 for a day of work. That is $500 to $750 per hour. You might say that is reasonable for a professional. Except the same photographer will shoot a corporate event for $1,500. Same amount of work, same equipment, same editing. But weddings pay more, so they charge more. And you will pay it because you need photos. You need proof that this expensive party happened. You need content for your Instagram and your Christmas cards and your living room wall. Here is what they do not tell you. You will look at those photos maybe 10 times. Once when you get them back. Once when you post them online. Once when you make a wedding album. And then 7 more times over the next 40 years when you are feeling nostalgic. That is $300 per viewing. You could hire a decent photographer for $1,000 and get 90% of the same photos. But you do not because the expensive photographer has a nicer website and fancier reviews. You are paying for branding, not photography. The wedding dress is another scam that deserves its own breakdown. The average wedding dress costs $2,000. You will wear it for 6 hours. That is $333 per hour to wear a dress. And you cannot resell it because wedding dresses do not hold value. They just sit in your closet in a preservation box taking up space. You spent $2,000 on something you will never use again. You could rent a designer gown for $200. You could buy a nice white dress for $300. But you do not because the wedding industry has convinced you that you need a wedding dress from a bridal salon where they serve you champagne and make you feel like a princess. And then there are the bridesmaid dresses. You make your friends spend $200 each on dresses they will never wear again. Dresses that you chose. Dresses that they have to pretend to like. This is a financial burden you are imposing on people you claim to care about. But it is tradition, so nobody questions it. Your friends will smile and pay for the ugly dress and the shoes and the hair and the makeup and the bachelorette party and the bridal shower, because saying no would make them a bad friend. Let's talk about the hidden costs that couples never budget for. The engagement party, the bridal shower, the bachelor and bachelorette parties, the rehearsal dinner, the day after brunch. Each of these events costs money, and you are expected to host or contribute to most of them. The total cost of getting married is not just the wedding. It is every event surrounding the wedding. By the time you add everything up, you are closer to $50,000 than $35,000. And then there is the honeymoon. You just spent $35,000 on a wedding. Now you need to spend another $8,000 on a honeymoon because you deserve it after all that stress. You go to an overpriced resort where you drink overpriced drinks and take photos for Instagram to prove to everyone that you are having the time of your life. Meanwhile, you are thinking about the credit card bill that is waiting for you when you get home. Here is the part that makes me genuinely angry. The wedding industry profits from your insecurity. They make you feel like if you do not spend enough, your wedding will be a failure. They make you compare yourself to other weddings. They show you photos of celebrity weddings that cost $10 million, and they tell you that yours can look just like that if you are willing to stretch your budget. They create FOMO, fear of missing out, fear that your wedding will not be special enough, fear that people will judge you. And social media has made this so much worse. You see everyone else's wedding highlights online, the perfect photos, the beautiful venue, the touching speeches. What you do not see is the credit card debt, the family drama, the stress that almost broke them up before they even got married. You see the performance. You do not see the cost. So you try to replicate what you see online, not realizing that most of those couples went into debt to create that performance. But here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The size and cost of your wedding has no correlation with the quality of your marriage. None. In fact, there is research showing that couples who spend more on their weddings are more likely to get divorced. A study from Emory University found that couples who spent less than $1,000 on their wedding had a lower divorce rate than couples who spent $20,000 or more. Why? Because couples who can agree to have a small, inexpensive wedding are demonstrating financial compatibility and shared values. They are not starting their marriage with debt and resentment. Let's talk about what you could do with $35,000 instead of spending it on a wedding. You could use it as a down payment on a house. In many markets, $35,000 is 10% to 20% down. That is the difference between renting forever and building equity. You could pay off your student loans. The average student loan balance is $37,000. You could eliminate your debt and start your marriage with a clean financial slate. You could invest it. As I said earlier, $35,000 invested at age 28 becomes over $500,000 by retirement. You could start a business. $35,000 is enough seed capital to launch a viable business that could replace one or both of your incomes. Or here is a radical idea. You could get married for $2,000 and use the other $33,000 to fund the first year of your marriage. Imagine starting your marriage with a $33,000 cushion. You would not fight about money. You would not stress about rent. You could take time to figure out your life together without financial pressure. That cushion would give you options and flexibility that most newlyweds do not have. But you will not do that because you have been told that the wedding is more important than the marriage. So what is the solution? How do you escape the wedding trap? The first step is to get honest about what you actually want versus what you think you are supposed to want. Do you want a big wedding because you genuinely want to celebrate with 200 people? Or do you want a big wedding because that is what everyone expects? Most people want the latter, but they convince themselves it is the former. If you stripped away all external pressure, what would you actually want? A lot of couples would choose a small ceremony with immediate family and close friends followed by a nice dinner. Total cost, maybe $5,000. But they do not do that because they are afraid of disappointing people. The second step is to set a realistic budget based on what you can actually afford, not on what Pinterest tells you weddings should cost. If you have $10,000 saved, your wedding budget is $10,000, not $35,000 that you will finance, not $50,000 that your parents will pay for, the number you can afford without going into debt or raiding your retirement accounts. If that means you have 50 guests instead of 150, that is fine. If that means you have a buffet instead of a plated meal, that is fine. If that means you get married on a Friday instead of a Saturday because the venue is cheaper, that is fine. The third step is to eliminate everything that does not matter to you personally. Do you care about flowers? Then spend money on flowers. Do you not care about flowers? Then do not spend money on flowers. It does not matter what other weddings have. It does not matter what the wedding magazines say you need. The only thing that matters is what you and your partner actually value. Most couples waste money on things they do not care about because those things are on the standard wedding checklist. Throw away the checklist. The fourth step is to be willing to DIY or cut corners strategically. You do not need a professional calligrapher to address your invitations. You do not need a videographer. You do not need escort cards and place cards and programs and favors. These are things the wedding industry invented to increase your spending. Your wedding will be exactly as meaningful without them. You can make a playlist instead of hiring a DJ. You can ask a friend with a good camera to take photos. You can get a cake from a grocery store bakery for $100 instead of a wedding cake for $800. The fifth step is to be honest with your guests about what kind of wedding you are having. If you're having a small, budget-friendly wedding, tell people that. Do not apologize for it. Do not make excuses. Just say, we are having an intimate celebration because that is what works for us. Most people will respect that. And the people who do not respect it are not people whose opinions should matter to you. Here is the most important thing you need to understand. Your wedding is not a reflection of your love. It is not a reflection of your worth. It is not a measure of how serious you are about your marriage. It is a party. An expensive, stressful party that will be over before you know it. The marriage is what matters. The daily choice to be partners. The decades of building a life together. That is where you should invest your energy and your money. Not in a 6-hour event that most people will forget. I know a couple who got married at the courthouse with 2 witnesses. Total cost, $75. Then they took the $40,000 they saved and used it as a down payment on a house. 10 years later, they have $200,000 in home equity, no debt, and a marriage that is stronger than most of their friends who had expensive weddings. They do not regret their decision for a second. Meanwhile, their friends are still paying off wedding debt and fighting about money. The wedding trap works because we have been conditioned to believe that spending money equals love, that bigger is better. That if you do not have the wedding everyone expects, you are somehow failing. But the truth is the opposite. The couples who have the courage to opt out of the wedding industrial complex, who choose financial health over social performance, who prioritize their future over one day, those are the couples who build lasting wealth and lasting marriages. If you are engaged and you are feeling pressure to spend money you do not have on a wedding you do not want, give yourself permission to say no. No to the expensive venue. No to the elaborate decorations. No to the performance. You are not getting married for your guests. You are not getting married for Instagram. You are getting married for each other. And if your relationship cannot survive having a small, simple wedding, it definitely cannot survive the financial stress of a big, expensive one. The wedding is one day. The marriage is the rest of your life. Choose wisely. If this video made you reconsider your wedding budget, share it with someone who is engaged and drowning in vendor quotes. Save them from starting their marriage in debt. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.